Hey guys, it's Captain Forest here, and in today's video I'm going to be going over both these combatants to see who would win, more often than not, in an inverse situation, Hercules versus Hyperion. Now if you guys are new to my channel, please leave a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for further content. Also, shouts to Coffee Shop Gang, they make awesome content, their links will be in the description. Also shouts to HQ Squad, shouts to Korin O'Keefe. He was a huge help with the Hercules section, so much appreciated to him. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start off with Hercules. So, born to a mortal woman, Hercules is the son of Zeus and spent centuries traveling the world, defeating monsters and helping the other heroes of Greece, such as Theseus and Jason. And in the modern times, Hercules' role isn't much different, helping the heroes of today to battle villains as one of the most iconic members of the Avengers. Hercules' most famous feat from mythology exists in his 616 canon, meaning he's held up the sky itself within the reality of Marvel Comics. In 1268 BC, Hercules was ordered to fetch the golden apples from Atlas's daughters, so he asked Atlas for help. Atlas had Hercules hold up the heavens while Atlas went to look for his daughters who had the apples. Finally, Atlas returned, but he didn't want to take over holding up the sky again. He had enjoyed his brief break and told Hercules that he would deliver the apples himself to the king. Hercules tricked Atlas into taking the load back by asking Atlas to hold it while he shifted the load. Hercules then took the apples and Atlas again shouldered the weight of the heavens. The Axis Mundi is the cosmic center of, or the connection between heaven and earth. As the celestial pole and geographic pole, it expresses a point of connection between sky and earth where the four compass directions meet. It appears in as many forms as people on the earth. It appears as Atlas, Yggdrasil, the totem pole and maypole, and pagoda, the banyan tree and the bodhi tree, the golden branches in the crowns of Cilia. As we all know, the Olympian Prince of Power is capable of going toe-to-toe with the Asgardian god of thunder. In Thor, Blood Oath, we see Hercules and Thor fight. While Thor gets in some good blows, Hercules gets in even more, and he eventually wins the fight by getting Thor into a grip he cannot escape. To add insult to injury, Hercules is stinking drunk in this fight, and Thor has to resort to lightning to break free, which Hercules correctly identifies it as cheating. Thor himself admits Hercules is the better fighter. Thor even states, "Up on the field of battle, we will be equal, but in the art of hand-to-hand combat, he is slightly my better." Thor is an expert combatant, having been trained hundreds of years in the arts of war. His understanding of tactics and strategies encompasses the teachings of cultures over several centuries. Thor has shown himself to be as proficient as a swordsman and in the use of his enchanted Uru hammer Mjolnir. We've seen Thor fight a guy who knows deadly karate that's advanced a million years beyond anything known on Earth today. Hercules is incredibly skilled in combat, both unarmed and with melee weapons. Heck, the dude invented his own wrestling and has millennia of battle experience. Hercules has a golden mace made out of adamantine. It was forged by the Olympian Hephaestus for Hercules as a replacement for a wooden club he favored as a mortal. Hercules is the first of all heroes, the greatest, the archetype. He is a Kambal, Junagun, and other types of archetypes. After being killed by Nyx in Avengers No Road Home, Zeus and the rest of the Olympians are reborn due to the fact that they are fundamental myth aspects of reality and could never truly be killed. As long as there's belief or knowledge of a god, they will live. Gods are creatures of magic and therefore creatures of story. Hercules resisted High Evolutionary's attempt at erasing his identity and making him non-existent, a nameless entity. Hercules' story is so great that it was strong enough to prevent being washed over by the divine light of the House of Ideas. So that's going to round up Hercules. I'm going to go ahead and move on to Hyperion. So Marcus Milton, the super being that would become known as Hyperion, came to Earth as a baby, sent as the only survivor of the race of Eternals from a dying world. A human named Father raised him under the name of Marcus Milton, teaching him the morals of society. As an adult, he became the superhero known as Hyperion and protected the world along with a team of superhumans known as the Squadron Supreme. One day, his universe and another started colliding. While he was trying to prevent the destruction of his reality, he was left in a void his destroyed universe once occupied. As the only survivor, floating in nothingness, the group of scientists known as AIM from another universe managed to pull him in to their reality. He spent most of his time in captivity until he was freed by the Avengers, who offered him a place in their ranks, and after working with the Avengers, he would go on to form the Squadron Supreme. Alright, let's move on to Hyperion's impressive feats. So Hyperion survived the destruction of 2 entire universes. One day, his universe and another started colliding. While he was trying to prevent the destruction of his reality, he was left in the void his destroyed universe once occupied, floating in nothingness. Hyperion was able to physically go at it with Hulk, and in fact take victory via causing Hulk to revert back to Banner after punching him really hard. Some more impressive feats for Hyperion was when he fought Namor and decapitated him with his heat vision. Another time was when he fought against Juggernaut and was able to physically hurt him and even carve off his helmet. Hyperion was also able to stalemate Moonstone in a beam struggle. This is impressive because Moonstone, back in the day, could toss up with Captain Marvel. Hyperion has also ripped the High Evolutionary's arm off, and they proceeded to go at it with each other. Now, let's go ahead and move on to Hyperion's abilities and other miscellaneous stuff. Hyperion has enhanced senses. He can hear the crack of skin cells from his students, hear someone drooling, dust mites running around their eyebrows, and hear screams from 18 miles away. Fine-tuned hearing he really does have. He can sense and detect life and see objects from far distances. Hyperion doesn't require the need to breathe, and Hyperion has his signature atomic heat vision, which he can use to vaporize his opponents down to the atomic to subatomic levels. His heat vision gets amped by the sun during the day, as he was able to carve off Juggernaut's helmet with his heat vision. Hyperion's heat vision is also radioactive too. Hyperion has also shown to use dirty tactics in combat, and lastly, Hyperion has type 3 mortality. He can heal his eyes and brain from worms that were consuming them. So that's going to round up Hyperion. I'm going to go ahead and move on to see who would win, more often than not, in an inverse situation. So looking at both combatants, they both have win cons. Hercules has his adamantine mace, and he has his type 8 conceptual immortality, and he also has his skill. I would say if it came down to skill, if this fight was just hand to hand, I'd say Hercules bodies Hyperion in the skill department. He's way too skilled. Centuries of skill. Absolutely, like, the skill gap is so huge. I really don't see what Hyperion can do if he tried to brawl with Hercules. I think Hercules would just finesse Hyperion, get around him, especially if he gets him in a chokehold. Now granted, Hyperion doesn't require the need to breathe, but if his Jungius is being strangled or it's being damaged, it'll definitely cause him some pain, and that could incapacitate him, just like what Hercules did to Thor. That'd be a huge issue. I don't see Hyperion getting out of it. Speaking of which, AP, I don't think AP is going to be an issue. They both have ways to take each other out. They both have really good feats that put them pretty close to each other, so I think they're pretty relative. Now, I do think Hyperion, if it comes, standard battle assumptions, so 20 meters, Hyperion does have the range advantage. He does have his heat vision, so that could definitely be an advantage that definitely affect Hercules and make him feel it. That could be an issue, but I do think Hercules' story and just his type 8, he's just so necessary, so he's very hard to put down. So I don't really see like Hyperion being able to permanently like kill him or anything. Now, Hercules has a way to get around that heat vision. His adamantine mace is actually a really impressive weapon and actually underrated in my opinion. It's even been demonstrated in another reality where the X-Men go to a different universe where Wolverine, in this reality, his bones are laced with adamantine, and we literally see when Cyclops tries to blast this like version of Wolverine literally slices the optic blast, and the special properties of this metal immobilize the beams, preventing it from shooting out any further. So if Hyperion performs a heat vision blast, all Hercules needs to do is batter up, get the adamantine mace, and literally use his blunt force, smack the beams and just immobilize them, or he could just deflect them if he wanted to, depending on how he feels about the fight. Or in fact, he could just lob the bloody thing. He could just throw the adamantine mace. I literally see the mace just blitzing through the heat vision, nullifying it, and then it's just going to smack Hyperion in the face because Hyperion's going to try to compete with it. But overall, I personally have to lean more so with Hercules. I just think he has ways to counter Hyperion. He has better skill, especially if he gets up close. I think that's GG. And of course, his adamantine mace is a big counter to the heat vision, and especially if he gets up close, if he wallops Hyperion with that, that's going to be a GG. And despite Hyperion's type 3 immortality, that's not going to be enough. The incapacitation is just going to kick in before Hyperion can even heal from any of his injuries. So more often than not, I have to lean more so with Hercules. But thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section, of course. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.